I'm here with Ben.
And I'm here with Ben.
And we got Kuz in the studio.
Hi. And we got Mikey in the back.
And this is the Ben and Ben Show. This week on the podcast, we got some new singles for you. Then we'll have a Kuz review of the new Adele album. Then we'll go into our own review.
So the first single we have this week is 2011 from 5 Seconds of Summer. It's got like a pop rock vibe to it, I guess. It's like celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the band like existing, I guess. What did you think about this, Ben?
It definitely sounds like it's from 2011.
Yep.
Very basic instruments, just all around. I've never really been a fan of the lead singers singing, and the lyrics are pretty basic. So I wasn't really a big fan of the song.
Yeah, I thought the melody they have was like catchy. It wasn't like too notable though. It was just, a catchy melody. Like you said, it feels like it's from 2011, which, might be intentional.
Yeah, I think it's intentional.
Well, yeah, it's intentional, yeah. But like it doesn't really do the song just like
it doesn't do
any favors.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, not much to note. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I gave it a 4.5 out of 10.
Yikes.
Next song is Wandering to LA by Juice WRLD and Justin Bieber. Got a really basic trap beat throughout the whole thing. Juice is pretty good on this.
Yeah, I thought he was decent.
Yeah, but when Justin comes in, just the auto-tune, I don't really like Justin Bieber singing on this. What do you think of it?
I didn't notice it that bad, like that much.
Yeah.
I didn't think it really took away from the song at all. I think, both of them, both Justin Bieber and Juice WRLD on here are solid. It's kind of cool to have, a song come out this late after. But I think the bass throughout is kind of cool, but it's nothing special.
No.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I gave this a 5.5 out of 10. I just wasn't totally enamored. There wasn't really a whole lot going on here.
Yeah,
and
I get
didn't
that.
Really like Justin's part on it.
Gather round the tree.
Alright, next up we have Merry Christmas by Elton John and Ed Sheeran. And it sounds to me like Ed Sheeran was trying to write a classic Christmas song and just kind of missed the mark.
If he was trying to write a classic Christmas song, the song he's trying to write has already been written.
Yes.
Many times. Every standard Christmas trope is already here. Bells in the background, everything about this song has already been done in a Christmas song.
Yeah.
That would not make this super memorable, besides the fact that it's made by Ed Sheeran and Elton John.
And honestly, Elton John being on it doesn't really do much.
No, it doesn't.
It's kind of just there, which I gave it a 5 out of 10.
I also gave this a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not bad to listen to, but it's also not good.
It does not put me in the Christmas spirit.
No. Puts me into I want to strangle Ed Sheeran spirit. Not really. We can cut that out. I don't want to strangle Ed Sheeran. Anyways.
And we'll all sing along
to the song. Next up is Just Look Up by Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi. Really like Kid Cudi, and there's really good vocals from Ariana. An okay beat, but doesn't really take away from the song too much. The bass can be a little much, but that's not a big deal. When Kid Cudi comes in, I really liked his verse. The only thing about this song is I'm watching the lyrics, reading along as the song goes by, and I'm like, these are some really fucked up lyrics. There's at one point in the song where it goes, "Turn off that shitbox news, 'cause you're about to die soon, everybody." And I was like, whoa, that's a weird line from Ariana Grande. And then I looked at the trailer, because this song is from the new Netflix movie, Don't Look Up.
And that has a stacked cast.
Yeah, that has a, not going too far into that, but there's a lot of people going into this movie. I looked at the trailer and I realized the movie is about a meteor or comet that's heading right for Earth, and the joke of the movie is basically nobody except these two astronomers are taking it seriously. And I guess that's what the song is playing into.
Yeah. When I was first listening to it, first verse, I was like, oh great. Just coming off the heels of Merry Christmas, I was like, oh great, it's more cheesy ballad, okay. That's enough. But then, it kind of, it's the point of the song. It's that kind of satire where it's like switching into like,
we're all gonna die. Lord.
We're all going to die. Like, listen to scientists, I guess. It's kind of very, I don't want to make it political, but it's a very liberal song where it's like, hey, don't listen to Fox News. Like, that's one line. It's like, turn off Fox News, which is obviously turn off Fox. Like, it's a direct reference. We can, yeah.
Well, no, that is what the song is saying. It's saying turn off Fox News, which is a, parallels to Fox News. So, yeah, it is very much of a satire song, which it's interesting coming from Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi, because, like, going into this, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah,
but I was pleasantly surprised just at the comedic effect of, like, just the rest of the song and how well I think this is going to fit into the rest of the movie. And overall, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Both of them do pretty well on this.
Yeah.
I gave this a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10. I was just kind of confused the entire
time.
I
was pretty confused. I was pretty confused.
But like you said, I'm sure it fits into the movie a lot better than just a standalone song. But
just look out, turn off the shitbox news, 'cause you're about to die soon, everybody.
My label said to never waste a crisis. And here
next up, we have Crisis by Joshua Bassett, co-star of, High School Musical, the series, co-star with Olivia Rodrigo. And this touches upon some of that drama, kind of calls her out for it, not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. But it's weird because he's like, I don't want to write this song, but my label is making me. Like, that's like the first, he's like, because my label said to never waste a crisis, and here I am, guitar in my hand, in the middle of one. And honestly, I didn't want to write this. Don't know if I can, still holding back, still want to run. But so basically, he's like, hey, you said some things about me. Like, it's kind of not cool.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I feel like if it were coming out in the middle of, I don't want to get too much into the drama, but like if it were coming out like right after Sour came out from Olivia Rodrigo, that'd be a little different. But since it's later, I feel like it's more grounded, it's more like real, and it makes you feel for him because like he was getting like death threats from,
which is totally not cool, no matter like what.
Yeah. So, but the song itself, I actually was very impressed with. Mm-hmm. I really liked the grounded feel of it just throughout. The vocals are very good.
I agree that he plays the guitar very nicely. It's mainly just him and his guitar.
Yeah.
His vocals are very nice, and not much else to add on to that. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
I gave it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's very good.
Well, those are our singles for this week. We're now going to move into our review of the Adele album 30, starting with our cruise review.
Don't you ever wonder if I'm okay after all you put me through?
Hello, this is Eli coming at you with another cruise review. This week's album, as we probably already have told you, is 30 by Adele. The image is her side profile with a background. It's kind of smoky, it's sort of green. Really not much to say about this image. It's just like the other albums Adele has done. It's her face. The only really noteworthy thing is that it's the first time she's done a side profile. It's pretty good composition, not a bad photo. Otherwise, not much to say. I'd give this a 6 out of 10. Yeah, back to the show.
I'll be taking flowers to the cemetery of my heart.
This week's album is Adele's 30. It is about 58 minutes long, 12 songs. This is basically Adele's divorce album. She said after her album before this, 25, that she wasn't going to do any more albums, and now has come out with this. I'm just excited for when we see Adele 57. But, having a album based around like splitting up is nothing new. I mean, you know, Olivia Rodrigo and Sour kind of was pretty big earlier this year. But I think people are excited to see Adele's take on it because of, one, people really like her voice, and her voice has this ability to move people, and with such a moving topic, I think people were interested to see what could happen with this. And so was I. And, you know, I think Ben and I both have mixed feelings on how this album kind of turned out. So let's get into that. Starting with the opening track, Strangers by Nature.
See, this is gonna deceive you, right? But I thought that the first Strangers by Nature, I think, was very, very good.
Yep.
I thought that it gave a great opening to the album. It kind of like, it feels like an opening to a movie almost, where she's setting up what the album's gonna be about, which, you know, openers, that's what they're supposed to do, and I think she does it really well here. It has this grand sound with like it has like bells and like strings throughout.
Swooping instrumentals, yeah.
I think it just does a great job of opening the album.
Yep, I agree. The opening verse especially, I think, and the lyrics in this kind of set up the situation, like you said, where we are. So I thought that was kind of cool. I gave this an 8 out of 10.
Same.
I think this was my favorite track off the album. And it only goes downhill from here.
Yeah, I'd say favorite new track for me, which leads to my favorite track, Easy on Me, which we reviewed earlier on the Ben and Ben show a couple weeks back. And it's just, you know, piano and bass here, pretty much just with Adele singing. It's very solid throughout. Really like the bass on here. It's heartfelt, it's catchy.
I agree. Kind of going back to what we said almost a month ago now. This kind of sounds like what Adele would just normally puts out, but I think her singing on here is very nice. Bass, piano, like Ben said. And I could see why she put this out as the single. Because it sounds it definitely sounds the strongest as a single. And I gave this a 7.5 out of 10. I thought this was a very strong song as well.
I gave this an 8 out of 10.
The third song, My Little Love, it feels more like a meditation than more a song, you know?
Yeah.
Because 6.5 minutes long, and about half the song is taken up with these like audio diary things.
Yeah, like voice recordings
with her son.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because, and I'm no parent, but I would feel very concerned if I was like, if my mother was just telling me about how hungover she was and like depressed she was. Like, that's a lot to put on me, Mom.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm the one. I'm in no position to judge how other people's parent. But I don't know.
And I mean, the song itself, I think, is solid. But when you add all of the voice recordings, I could deal with the first couple ones where she's talking to her son. It's like, you know, he's saying like, I love you 1,000,000%. Like, I get that. That's cool, like little things here and there, that works. But then when it goes to the final, like the outro of the song, and it's just this long audio recording of her like sobbing. I get that she wants to share her experience with us. She like wants to express what she was going through. But we also don't need to have like a minute of her talking about how she's hungover and
to her
paranoid.
son,
and
no less. Yeah.
Well, I also don't know if that last audio clip is necessarily to her son. Like, I get the way that the song is set up. It seems like it would be, but I feel like part of me wants to believe that's not.
I would like to believe that it's not, but it's never like clearly cut from like one audio recording to another.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
And it always seems like she's addressing another person.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna assume that it's
the way that it seems like if she's almost like talking to like a therapist or someone or a close friend, it's a more mature topic, more mature conversation than what she would hopefully have with her son, who's apparently like really young. So yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting.
I gave this song a 6 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10 as well.
Oh,
we're on sync.
All right. Next song is "Cry Your Heart Out," which I actually think it might be the most upbeat song on the album, even though it's, you know, the topic of the song isn't upbeat.
Yeah.
But it's
weird.
Yeah, and I get that there needs to be some, you know, diversity of songs on here, so it makes sense that it's an upbeat song with, you know, more serious lyrics still. But I think it has a pretty like groovy feel to it with the piano and like the vocal distortion that they use. I actually like it on here,
Yeah.
but there will be times on the later in the album where they use vocal distortion and I do not like it at all. But here I think it works. I really like the song actually.
I like the vocalization on all of this as well. The lyrics are pretty depressing, as my skin is paper thin. Is not very like, I don't know. It doesn't really set. It doesn't
like a groovy like.
Well, and it doesn't like set yourself up to be like very self-confident. Does it? You know, like I don't know. I don't feel like as an album where she's like dumping her heart and soul onto this. I feel like she dumped a lot of heavy inner thoughts onto this song.
Yes.
And then,
but then just like set the metronome to like 200 and was like, let's do this. Like, let's go into the studio. Like.
But I gave this a 6.5 out of 10.
I gave it an 8 out of 10. I like the song, even
Nice.
despite the depressing lyrics.
Next song, Oh My God. The chorus is good, and it's very raw.
I like that.
Yeah, rocky and raw. Instruments are also good. The verse like that she has are okay. You know, it's just she's very good at singing once again, but the lyrics are just again like just very sad, down in the dumps.
Which, I mean, this is an Adele album. We're not really expecting too much other than that. But, like, it's still, as you said, it's like...
But this song is about being dependent on, like, this relationship. I'm assuming that it's, like, the one with her husband.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I thought this song was, sound-wise, was pretty okay. You know, I just kind of tune out the lyrics if I want to feel happy. But, like...
That's what I do with the last song.
Yeah.
Just cry your heart out. But,
But if you want to like learn something about how she's been like feeling and you know experience the story, then I think definitely listen to the lyrics. Because granted, as sad as they are, it's pretty good songwriting, like pretty good storytelling and all that. So.
Yeah, it works. I think it works in two ways, where it's like, yeah, it's a catchy song, but then also if you like take it a step further and actually listen to the lyrics, another side of it is shown. So I thought it was a good song. Here's where I'm talking about those backup vocals. There's weird like distorted vocals on here, like in the background, that I don't really like that much. And she uses it throughout. I don't know. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but I think it's pretty catchy. The lyrics are good, depressing but good. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I also gave it a 7 out of 10.
Yep. All right. Next up, we got "Can I Get It?" Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Good. There's guitar on here, and I really like that. The melody, though, that she's singing, I think it's kind of just it's not amazing.
Sounds royalty free.
Yeah. There's whistles in here that sounds like a song that I just can't like put my finger on it, but it sounds like probably 10 other songs I've heard before. But I don't think this is a great song.
Like at the beginning, the drums and the guitar work together very nicely, and then the drums kind of pick it up somewhere in the song, and I think I like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I agree with the whistling. It's not all that great. I think the vocals kind of take it up a notch on this song, but then again, a lot of the song sounds like it could have been pulled from like a royalty-free library.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10. So.
Next song is the White Moms of America anthem, I Drink Wine. It kind of like, we're kind of seeing an upturn on the album's lyrics here. The lyrics can actually get kind of inspiring. Mm-hmm. The instruments are fairly basic, but that's okay. It goes over 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Which can kind of grate on the soul. The last minute of it is kind of just this recorded outro.
Yep. This has, I think, it might be kids singing the backup vocals on here.
I think so.
But doesn't sound good to me. I get it, they're kids. But still, if you're going to use kids, it should still sound good. Like, you can't just use kids for the sake of using kids. But I didn't have much to say about this song, really, other than it kind of drags on. It's, it's solid overall, I guess. It's, like, not amazing, but yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yep. All Night Parking is the next song, and the piano on here is actually really, really fantastic. It's kind of just all over the place throughout the entire song, which, goes well with the beat, I'd say. It has weird backup vocals on here again, which sound pretty nasally. But other than that,
I did think the backup vocals kind of caught me on this one too. I think this was the only song where they caught me like that. The pianist on the song is Errol Garner. And yeah, he's a pretty good pianist.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just an interlude for the album.
Yeah.
And it's kind of getting you ready for this last leg of the album, which we're about to get into right now. But before that, I gave this a 7.5 out of 10. It's just a simple kind of interlude for the album.
Yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was good.
The last 4 songs, I think, all kind of followed, for me, the same formula. They are Women Like Me, Hold On, To Be Loved, and Love Is a Game. Like, they're all sad. They're Adele, like, spewing into the mic about how shit things have been.
Yeah.
They all follow the same formula of starting slow and melodic.
Yeah.
They slowly build up to, like, this grand, like, chorus at the end. And then it's pretty much rinse and repeat for 4 songs.
Yeah.
The first one of the 4 is 5 minutes. The last 3 are 6 minutes, and the last 2 are almost 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But
I will say, A Woman Like Me and To Be Loved, those are pretty grounded in that, like, it sounds like they could have just been, hey, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna record a song, here we go.
Yep.
And they kind of just come up with ideas on the spot, even, where it's just like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna write this, we're gonna sing about, whatever I want to. Because To Be Loved, it's just her, and I don't know if she's playing piano, or if it's, she's being accompanied, but it's just her and piano for the whole, like, 7 minutes. And I, love piano, love the instrument, love Adele, her voice is great, but 7 minutes of just that and it not really going anywhere kind of drags on for me.
I tried an experiment with this song where I went from, like, the beginning of the song and then skipped to, like, 5 minutes in, and I could barely tell that I skipped.
It sounds the exact same.
Yeah.
Where with the other of these 4, you
couldn't
can
say
tell.
that, yeah.
Those build a little bit more than To Be Loved does. And obviously, To Be Loved, it has, very real lyrics. She's, great storyteller still, but at some point, especially the second to last song on the album, at some point it's just, you've had enough. You're ready to move on to a new idea, which, just isn't there.
Yeah, a lot of these songs feel like they could have been condensed down into a 3-minute song. The only reason they weren't is just because she had too many, like, lyrics that she wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
And yeah, this last leg of the album, as someone who isn't totally enamored with Adele's voice, I just kind of wanted this to end. And so by the end, I was just feeling a little done with this.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think for one of my, like, review notes, I just wrote, "Oh my god, it's 7 minutes again."
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was listening to this, like, the day it came out, and then it was like, the night it came out, and I just stopped. I was like, these last 4 songs are all 6 and 7 minute long. I just can't right now. I'm going to bed. But
I will say the best thing these songs provide is good lyric writing.
Yes.
About 24 minutes of that, I don't think is worth it.
Yeah, I would probably skip these songs. Unless, if
you like Adele's voice, then these songs are probably for you.
Yeah, and maybe maybe I'd listen to one of the 4, but honestly, they kind of all just mush together. It's kind of the same, like you said, same rinse and repeat. There's, like, slight differences, but overall, it's pretty much the same.
I'd give these, like, last 4 songs a 5.5 to 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave each one a 6 out of 10, except for To Be Loved, I gave a 5 out of 10.
I gave that one a 5 out of 10 as well.
Which I feel bad, because, like, it still has good lyrics and good storytelling. It's just not executed well. So.
Well, overall, this album, before we give our review, let's give our final thoughts on this album as a whole. Lyrics, I think, overall on this album, I'm pretty torn. Like, I'm half and half on whether this is a good album or a bad album. I think when it comes to lyrics, you have, like, good lyric writing and storytelling, but it's just kind of, you get a lot of, like, self-assuring, self-indulging lyrics as mixed in there, because this is almost like her therapy album, where she just dumped a lot of stuff in there. And with that, you got, like, a bunch of just, like, kind of questionable, kind of not really even relatable, even if I think you're in the situation.
Yeah.
Lyrics. I don't know. Adele's got me torn on a lot of this.
I will say, this album feels a lot like it's for her more than it is for, like, her fans, which obviously that's respectable. That's okay.
Yeah.
But just as a fan or a listener, not necessarily an Adele fan, but as a listener, it doesn't really give me too much. Obviously, not much to relate to, since like obviously you could apply it to other situations, but we're teenagers. We have been divorced, or have kids.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just
When it comes to the actual music, like, yeah, you can make an album for yourself, but still have the music be good. But
Yeah.
here, the music just isn't all that
and
good
like,
throughout.
it's if it's all for her, that's totally okay. But it's kind of obvious that it's what she needed to do at the time. She even said that after her last album that she'd be done, so it was clear that she needed to write this. She felt compelled to, and that's why she put it out. But it feels she could have done more for her fans, I guess, in a weird way. It's hard because obviously she's going through stuff and wants to express that, but also at the same time, as an artist, there should be a part of you trying to please your fans as well. I don't know.
I feel like
There's a hard balance to find.
you should be trying to make good music. I don't know.
Yeah.
End of the day, I think a lot of these songs are pretty good on their own. They don't come together to make a very good album.
No.
There are some really good songs here. A little bit of a train wreck at the end. I'd rather just read a poem. Overall, I don't know. Ben, you got anything else to say about this?
What I will say is about the album cover and the title, which Eli obviously already talked about. But I don't like how she just names it after her age, right?
Really?
Because I get that it's like, oh, this is when I wrote it, this is when I released it, this is what I'm going to have as the title. But I also feel like it's just kind of, I don't want to say lazy, but I do. Because I feel like titles of albums gives you so much creative freedom to like give an idea as to what this is about. And with Adele's albums, with the ages, it's like, sure, you could argue that it's like, oh, different stages in life have different, albums that could fit for them, I guess. I don't know. But I feel like with the album cover and title, I feel like kind of lackluster. I don't know if you have a take on that or not. But
I guess my take on that is I don't mind her naming scheme for her albums. I feel like a lot of artists have in the past and now have like a naming scheme for the albums. Like Led Zeppelin did Roman numerals up into a point. Ed Sheeran does math equations. So if we did have Ed Sheeran and Adele collab, we would have an equation on our hands.
Oh!
So I think it can be kind of like it can be made into a staple like of your brand.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. And also it doesn't really detract anything from the album. Like at all. It's not like I went into this going, oh, she named it after her age again, I'm gonna hate it. But I don't know. It feels like there could be more creative ambition. Okay, anyways, other than that, I don't really have anything other to say.
I gave this a 6.5 out of 10.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Ben and Ben Show. I don't know whether to say anything about the fact that this episode was hectic to make. Had 2 special guests get pulled in the opposite direction. So that's why we're alone on this episode.
Yes.
But that's okay.
But
We
stay
powered
tuned
through.
for next
We got
episode.
it. Oh my god. Dude,
Oh,
that's a
you're
great
gonna
episode.
love it. This has been the Ben and Ben Show. See you next episode.
Peace.
Stranger